It is the 7th rotation of matches in the AFC Champions League Elite. And today it's Wahda of the United Arab Emirates versus the defending champions Ahli of Saudi Arabia at the Al Nayan Stadium in Abu Dhabi. Both teams are already through to the knockout stage of this year's competition, having accumulated 13 points apiece from their 6 previous matches, but both will want to finish the league stage on a high. And for Ahli, it's the chance to take another step towards becoming the first team to retain the trophy since Al Ittihad did it over 20 years ago now. 25 degrees approaching kick-off time in Abu Dhabi. Perfect conditions really as the sun sets. And they've met on 3 previous occasions in this competition. And perhaps surprisingly, Wahda are unbeaten in the series with 1 win and 2 draws. The Maroons looking to become just the 2nd Emirati team to win Asia's top trophy after Al Ain. They've never been further than the semi-finals, which they reached all the way back in 2007. That's why they're known as the Maroons, Wahda, led by their captain, Omar Kribin. And they've won all 3 previous home games in this year's competition. A 2-1 win over Al Ittihad of Saudi Arabia, followed by 2 3-1 successes over the 2 clubs from Qatar, Al Duhail and Al Sadd. Their domestic form has been a little bit mixed. They drew 2-2 with Al Batay in the league last time out, and before that they were beaten 4-2 by Dubai United in the President's Cup. And they did actually lose their last game in the AFC Champions League Elite as well to Al Gharafa. Still, they are safely through to the knockout phase. But today is a really good test from the defending champions Al Ahli, whose away form in this competition this year is pretty solid too. A 2-2 draw against Al Duhail of Qatar, a 2-1 success over Al Sadd from the same nation, and then last time out they hammered Iraq's Al Shorta by 5-0 to secure their place in the knockout stage. Al Ahli's domestic form, well, they beat Al Hazem 2-0 last weekend, preceded by a goalless draw against Al Hilal in one of the really big games in the Saudi Pro League. And both clubs at the moment lying in 3rd spot in their domestic competitions. And for Al Ahli, who are backed by a fairly healthy contingent of supporters who've made the trip from Saudi Arabia, who would love to end their decade-long wait for a Saudi Pro League title. And on the regional stage, they are the team to beat, having won their maiden crown last season by defeating Kawasaki Frontale in the final. Perhaps rather a surprise that only Al Ain from the United Arab Emirates have been able to obtain regional success. They have won the AFC Champions League title on 2 occasions and been runners-up on 2 further occasions as well. Maybe this is Al Wahda's year. They will hope so. And despite that loss that I talked about to Dubai United in the President's Cup, that is their only defeat in their last 7 in all competitions. And Al Wahda's coach, Darko Milanic, did say pre-game, with both teams having already reached the next stage, this would be a stress-free evening. Let's hope we get a game that entertains as a result. Skyline of Abu Dhabi in the background, awaiting to welcome the 2 teams at the Al Nayan Stadium, who you might remember, or which you might remember, was one of the venues for the AFC Asian Cup back in 2019. Wahda, one of the big clubs in the Emirates, although they haven't been domestic champions for even longer than Ahli. Their last league championship was back in 2010. And they missed out on the last 3 editions of the AFC Champions League Elite. And they've made a good fist of this year's competition. And let's see how they go today against the team that holds the trophy. The official music of the AFC Champions League Elite, greeting the players of Wahda and Ahli. Some big names in that Ahli lineup. You just saw Edouard Mendy, who's just won the African Cup of Nations with Senegal. Riyad Mahrez and Frank Kessie, the captain. Ivan Toney, who's in great form at the moment. That is Matthias Jaisler, their 37-year-old German coach. Had 2 years at Red Bull Salzburg before leading them to that Asian crown. And there is Darko Milanic, the 58-year-old Slovenian, who's back for a second stint as Wahda coach. He won 6 domestic titles back in his homeland as coach of Maribor. There's Riyad Mahrez, who's looking for his 13th goal for Ahli in the Champions League Elite this evening. Only 2 players have ever scored more in this competition. For Ahli, Victor Simoes with 14 and the legendary Omar Al-Soma with 24, so Mahrez can get that a little bit closer to Simoes at least, if he can get on the score sheet tonight. So the formalities almost over. The obligatory handshakes between the 2 sets of players and the match officials, and we can take a check on the team news, starting with Wahda. And Darko Milanic makes just 2 changes from the league encounter with Al-Bateh. Lucas Pimenta replaces Mohamed Gorbani in the heart of defence, and Argentine Facundo Cruspi comes in for Caio Caneda on the left flank. 7 different nationalities represented in that 11, led by 70 times capped Syrian international Omar Kribin, who's scored 9 goals in his last 6 games and has scored 15 times all told in the Champions League Elite. And by the way, that international representation continues on the bench as well. Portuguese midfielder Bernardo Folha is among the replacements. Ahli too have selected arguably their strongest available 11, also making just 2 changes from the side that started against Al Hazem. They are Ali Majrashi, who displaces Mohamed Youssef at right back, and Valentin Atangana, who comes into the midfield with Galeno not a part of the matchday squad. The team led by 101 times capped Ivory Coast international Frank Kessie, although Edouard Mendy has gone up to do the coin toss. There's the match referee, Ali Reza Fagani, born in Iran, but now resident in Australia. Now, Ahli also have a new Brazilian signing, Ricardo Matias, on the bench. And watch out, of course, for Ivan Toney, who has a ridiculous 13 goals in 9 games so far in 2026. Ahli players standing in homage to their supporters, who are returning the compliment. Always good to build that connection between fan and team. Wahda taking no notice of what was going on at the other end of the park. There's one of their key players, Facundo Cruspi, who is a 23-year-old Argentine, signed in 2023 from Arsenal de Sarandi, back in his homeland. And there is Omar Kribin, who will need to be kept an eye on tonight by Ahli. 91 goals he's got in 132 competitive games for Wahda. Dusan Tadic, a familiar face as well. These days in the English Premier League with Southampton and the Dutch Eredivisie with Ajax. And it is Wahda in the all-maroon strip who get us underway. Two clubs then assured of their spots in the round of 16. So hopefully we should be assured of an entertaining 90 minutes ahead at the Al Bayadeen Stadium. Early touch of the ball for the Wahda goalkeeper, Zayed Al-Hamadi. Back heel by Kribin, and this is Dusan Tadic. As Wahda look to launch the first attack, but attempted delivery into the box from Wahda Nasser was snuffed out by the Ahli defence. The Emiratis looking to start the game on the front foot. Good hold-up play by Kruspi. Sent into the box by Jadson, the Brazilian. And this is Brahima Diarra, once of Huddersfield Town in the lower divisions of England. Now enjoying his spell in the Emirates. Kruspi. Back through Wahda Nasser. Wahda play some pretty eye-catching stuff at times. The issue really for both teams is that if Kribin doesn't get the goals for Wahda and Tony doesn't get the goals for Ahli, then there isn't really a regular goal scorer in behind. Kribin has scored 12 goals for Darko Milanic's side domestically this season. The next top scorer is Kruspi with 3. And it's a similar tale in Saudi Arabia. Ivan Toney with 18 in the Saudi Pro League. And then there's a cluster of players on just 2 behind him. Ryan Hamad with no other option really but to go long. Tied it up by Sasha Ivkovic for Wahda. No way through for Mahrez. That's a rather risky ball, played by Jadson. And she acknowledges. Matthias Jaisler, one of the most promising young coaches in world football. Still just 37. Already with a Champions League title to his name as a coach. Holding from Kruspi. Preventing Ali Bajrashi from making that little burst into space. This is Ziad Al-Jahani. Getting the return ball from Matheus Gonçalves. Watch out for him too. Brazilian arrived in the early part of the campaign from Flamengo. It's been really impressive in the Champions League so far. Rather poor ball into the penalty area from Ryan Hamad. brisk start to this Champions League Elite contest. Kribin given a bit of a shove from Ryan Hamad. They know he will need careful watching this evening. It's another foul, this time in favour of Ahli, and they take the free kick quickly. Like a foul initially on Valentin Atangana, but the whistle's gone the other way, which certainly won't bother Darko Milanic. Sent back by Roger Ibanez to the unmistakable figure of Edouard Mendy. Not great distribution, though, by the Senegalese international. And that's going to be a free kick in a pretty promising situation for Wahda, committed by Atangana on Brahima Diarra. Just reaching for the ball was the French under-21 international, tripping up his opponent in the process. First test potentially incoming for Ahli. Matthias Jaisler just watching the replay, not particularly impressed by his midfielder's efforts to win the ball. But it was Mendy's poor clearance in the first place that caused that spot of bother for the Asian champions. Now they might be made to pay the price. Shot by Dusan Tadic, fired straight into the wall. And this is Mateus Gonçalves, who gets his team a throw off Guga. Guga, one of several Portuguese players in the Wahda squad, signed from Portimonense back in 2024. Full name Gonçalo Moura Oliveira, but going by the nickname of Guga. And this is Ryan Hamad. Mazraoui. Midfield was Atangana, given away by Mazraoui, straight at Krubin, who returns the compliment. Oh, it's a lovely turn by Mahrez. Clear foul by Badr Nasser. And I'd be a little surprised if there's not a yellow card produced here by referee Ali Reza Fagadi. So slippery, Riyad Mahrez. Doesn't look as though the yellow card's been produced. A little bit lucky, I wager, Badr Nasser. The free kick comes to naught. Franck Kessie unable to control that free kick from Riyad Mahrez. Matthias Jaisler's side are unbeaten in the last 10 matches, 9 wins and 1 draw. That draw against Al Hilal. Their last defeat was against Al Fateh by 2-1 on the 26th of December. And in that 10-game sequence, by the way, they've only conceded 4 goals and none at all in their last 4. Edouard Mendy, who was involved in that big penalty controversy in the African Cup of Nations final. Brahim Diaz panenkering the penalty straight at him. The move so bemusing. Mendy himself admitted afterwards he asked Diaz whether he'd missed it deliberately. I'm sure that wasn't the case. He's going to run away from Mateo Dams. He thought he was going to get the corner. And he's going to be disappointed. Yeah, certainly looked as though it took a flick off the boot of Brahima Diarra. Mateo Dams, who's played only 64 minutes in the Saudi Pro League this season. He's been reserved almost exclusively for the AFC Champions League Elite, where he started every game. Here's Omar Kribin. Might have been foul there, but managed to stay on his feet. And Kribin will go for goal. And the ball will spin away, but not quite out of play. Sent all the way back by Sasha Ivkovic. A rather loose back pass, or pass to his teammate, I should say, by Zayed Al Hamadi, but Wahda have got away with it. And are streaming forward, little scoop over the top. That's delightful from Dusan Tadic. Just the bounce favouring Edouard Mendy. Wonderful invention from Tadic. Little sandwich over the top, looking for that run of Brahima Diarra. All coming together between Ziad Al Jahani and Omar Kribin. Atangana threading the needle for Riyad Mahrez. Tony was all alone, but ball didn't quite reach him. No real goal-scoring opportunities as yet for either side, but good tempo to this contest. Wahda Nasser, cut out by Ali Majrashi. Kuski in hot pursuit, out towards Mateus Gonçalves. That's a little bit too over-elaborate from Ali Majrashi. And then Atangana wrestling Kribin to the floor. Signed from Reims in France for $29 million, Valentin Atangana. Shows the strength of the Saudi Pro League, that they were able to outbid Strasbourg, that in Atangana's native land. Looking for that little through ball. This time for Mahrez. It's twice they've tried it. It's not come off yet, but Wahda playing a dangerously high line. Kribin just checking to see where his opponent Ryan Hamad was. Very intelligent play by the Syrian. Here is Wahda Nasser. Back through Janssen. Good skill again by Kribin. Oh, that's lovely. Kribin again, Omar Kribin. And referee Fagani will bring them back for a free kick. Kruspki involved in that move as well. which led to Kribin's effort being well smothered by the Ahli defence. Kribin's layoff. Good use of the body by Krupski. And then just a bit of a tangle of legs, really, which slowed Krupski's momentum. And in the end, it's the Argentine who is penalised for kicking through his opponent. Squared up by Dams for Atangana. Kessie, Gonçalves. Atangana once again. Well, Mahrez again trying to spring that defensive line. At some point, Ahli will get that ball right. They are too good not to. Atangana. Strange sort of a ball from Mahrez. Not of his usual quality. Clever by Kessie. Mahrez. And here's from Kessie. Clipping it towards the back post, but Tony had been drawn towards the near. But they are pushing Ahli. Perfectly timed release from Mahrez. And in the end, probably credit to Sasha Ivkovic, who got a little piece of this. Maybe stop that ball heading towards goal. Kribin. His battle with Ryan Hamad is certainly going to be one to keep an eye on. It's clever from Tony. Couldn't quite repeat the trick. Kribin unable to hold the ball up. Atangana. Kessie. Ibanez. Now a chance for Ziad Al-Jahani to try and pick out Ivan Toney. Al-Jahani again. Still, they can't find their main man. Ball too far for Gonçalves. Might get a second bite at it. All a bit scrappy in midfield. Eventually, Abdullah Al-Manali sorts it out for Wahda. And now driving forward is Guga. Here's Dusan Tadic. Going to unleash here. Decent try. First real effort on goal from either side. And it came via the left boot of the 111 times capped Serbian international. Got a couple of goals in this year's Champions League Elite. Dusan Tadic, 2 assists to go with that as well. Matteo Dams released down the left for Al-Ahli meantime. Steered away by Lucas Pimenta for Wahda. And then really having to get rid of the ball in a hurry. Wasn't the pass that he wanted. Mahrez. Ibanez. Tempted just for a moment to join in with the attack. Foul by Kribin. If my lip reading's correct, he's saying to Ali Reza Fagani, that's my first one, and I've had about 5 or 6 against me. A wry smile from the Australian official. So Mahrez on set-piece duty, as he normally is. A little bit too straight, if anything. So a change of angle for Matteo Dams. Back post, Ryan Hamad. Flicked on by Tony. Can they find the finishing touch? Not quite. Back with Mahrez. Not quite enough elevation to get over the top of Guga. He's given the ball away and there is no foul. Gonçalves into the box, the back heel. Well, for Ivan Toney, but nothing productive at the end of it for Ahli. And in the end, the flag has gone up for offside. Good flick on by Tony. And it was Ibanez who'd strayed beyond the last defender. Mendy being given the hurry up by Omar Kribin. Powerful header by Lucas Pimenta. Brahima Diarra coming back from an offside position to get involved in the play. Pimenta for Kribin. Here's Mahrez, it's 2-on-2. Riyad Mahrez, good save, double save from Zayed Al-Hamadi, who's only in the starting 11 because regular goalkeeper Mohamed Al-Shamsi is suspended. Meantime, referee Fagani wants to have a conversation, firstly with Dusan Tadic and latterly to show a yellow card to Brahima Diarra for a foul at the outset of this Al-Ahli attack, and that's why stepping on the foot of Matteo Dams. First caution of the game. Mahrez with the first shot on target of the game. There is no doubt that Al-Ahli is starting to make the running. And there's going to be a yellow card issued here. Mateus Gonçalves down on the floor, and Al-Ahli are incensed that further action has not been taken, and Ivan Toney has talked his way into the notebook because of it. Let's have another look at this. And it was a heavy touch by Pimenta, and then he appeared to tread on Mateus Gonçalves. Edouard Mendy's been cautioned for getting involved. All a little bit unnecessary, but you can perhaps understand their frustration. And we're yet to see the replay, but if Lucas Pimenta has trodden on Mateus Gonçalves, and it would appear to be the same sort of offence that Brahima Diarra was booked for just a matter of minutes ago. Now, belatedly, Lucas Pimenta gets a yellow card. Maybe he thought he got away with that one. And the one thing you can say about referee Ali Reza Fagani is that he is consistent. So 3 yellow cards issued in that little fracas. And a rather lengthy delay, but we're back to it. And the ball with Ziad Al-Jahani. That ball stayed in play. It's nicely done by Ahli. And again, just the final ball missing. Quick release from Al-Hamadi. Nice skills from Facundo Krupski. Worked out wide by Al-Manali. Here's Brahima Diarra. Looking for the return from Tadic. Ibanez to step across. Very tidy defensive work. Good release under pressure from Atangana as well. Back through Ryan Hamad. And now Franck Kessie. Ibanez going route one. Nice release too for Mahrez. Here's Ivan Toney, little scoop over the top. Atangana will get there, but it was off balance. And could only put it behind for a goal kick for Al Wahda. Well, for 2 teams already through, this has been anything but an exhibition game. Plenty of feeling in it. Just the one piece of work by the goalkeeper. It was Zayed Al-Hamadi. He had to beat away Riyad Mahrez's effort on goal. Now Krupski heading away from Mazraoui, releasing Omar Kribin. Tadic, Kribin again. The back heel from Brahima Diarra didn't quite work out for Al Wahda. And Dams able to clear. Gugat joining in with the attack, and he's got some room here. Gets the head up and see where's the attacker is. Tadic blocked by Kessie, and then there's a foul by Diarra. Nothing malicious, I don't think, from Diarra, just arrived a little late. Although he is already in the book, of course. Has to be a touch careful. 22 years of age, Brahima Diarra. Born in Paris, but one full international cap for Mali. Ivan Toney, of course, a full England international, although not for quite a while now. Just 7 caps for his country. And a little bit out in the cold under new England manager Thomas Tuchel. Kessie. Hamed Mahrez. Ziad Al-Jahani. Gets it back off Roger Ibanez. Have to go all the way back and start again through Ziad Al-Jahani. Sent wide by Kessie. Mahrez. Mazraoui used as the decoy. Appeals for handball by Kessie against Abdullah Al-Manali, and those appeals are heeded by Ali Reza Fagani. Free kick for Ahli. Yeah, the arm was outstretched, making himself unnaturally bigger, as is the common vocabulary. And this is very much Riyad Mahrez territory. Ivan Toney might fancy a piece of it as well. Darko Milanic knows this is a dangerous moment. They've got the draft excluder behind five-man wall. Half an hour played at the Al Nahyan Stadium. Could be a key moment coming up. It's Ivan Toney, and it took a touch off that wall, which was crucial. And behind it goes for a corner. Back heel from Mahrez. Yeah, that was angling into the corner before Tadic got a touch, and it was only just wide. Ahli supporters encouraged. Mahrez now looking to turn provider from the corner kick. Retrieved by Kessie. Tony's ball into the middle. They are queuing up, the Al Ahly players, but it's hammered away to safety by Lucas Pimenta. Atangana. Jadson at his back. Lovely turn. Defence splitting pass as well from Ivan Toney, who's all the way out there on the left-hand side at the moment. Matthias Geisler playing ball boy. Mahrez. Mazraoui. He wanted the free kick because he'd lost possession of the football, and the referee wasn't fooled. Here's Kribin, and the switch is on. It's beautifully released by Kribin. Here's Brahima Diarra for Al Wahda. Around one defender, on target, but not good enough to beat Edouard Mendy. First shot of the evening on target for Al Wahda. Mendy again, having to be quick. Al Wahda are strong at home. They haven't lost Champions League Elite match on their own deck since 2021. Mind you, they have, as already mentioned, missed the last 3 editions, so maybe that's not too impressive. The winners that day were Al Nassr, also of Saudi Arabia. And Al Ahly are pushing here for the opening goal. Riyad Mahrez. And in the end, he bamboozled himself, I think. So many step overs. Little touch from Kruspke was key. As for Ahli, they haven't lost any of the last 7 trips to the Emirates. As you can see by the possession statistics, they are on top at the moment. Probably a bit of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other in truth, but referee has given the free kick the way of Ahli for the foul on Mazraoui. Tony might have been offside there, yep. Those appeals by Wahda heeded. Good defending from the Brazilian-born Lucas Pimenta. There he is, born in Niterói. Former Botafogo junior, but now 15 times capped for Al Abyad, the Whites, the national team of the UAE. Talking of white, here's the Brazilian with the white hair, Mateus Gonçalves. Sent wide by Kessie, Mahrez, Gonçalves again. Down in the box, but no suggestion of a foul by Al Manali. Al Jahani, everything starts with him for Al Ahli. Mahrez. Gonçalves. Mahrez again. Looking back post for the arrival of Matteo Dams. And the pressure was enough to force Diarra to put the ball behind for a corner. Riyad Mahrez to take. Winger with experience at the likes of Le Havre, Leicester City, Manchester City. Winner of 5 English Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, 3 League Cups, 1 UEFA Champions League. And of course with Al Ahli, 1 AFC Champions League Elite.
3, 2, 1.
And it's his corner. Headed away purposefully by Facundo Kruspke. Sent back in by Dams. Great header under pressure from Kribin. He's such a workhorse, the Syrian striker. Doesn't shirk his defensive duty. Problem is, he's now behind the play. Now he's about to join in with it. Here he is. Through Ivkovic, and now Pimenta, Guga, Diarra. Nice one too with Dusan Tadic. Ultimately blocked off fairly as well by Roger Ibanez. A rather lazy pass from Mazraoui. Inviting pressure back on his team, Kribin. Kruspke, Al Manali, everybody back for Al Ahli. Tadic, Kribin went to ground too easily on that occasion. He's not happy with referee Ali Reza Fagani. Believed he was fouled. He might go looking for retribution here. Kessie's ball, forcing Al Jahani to retreat. out towards Tony. It's a really good header under pressure by Ivan Tony. The release not bad either from Mahrez. Here's Mateus Gonçalves. Looking for the cutback to the top of the box where Mahrez was stationed. Not the quality that Ahli required. Kuspki drawing the contact from Ali Mazraoui. Ali Mazraoui, one of the few local Saudi players who gets a regular starting spot for Ahli. One of only two starters in last year's Champions League Elite final against Kawasaki Frontale from Saudi Arabia for Ahli. Mind you, he is the national team's right fullback. Here's Ivan Tony, careless by Wahda. The angle a little too acute, even for the Englishman. Kuspki hauled to the floor by Ziad Al-Jahani. Rather Tadic, I should say. My apologies. Atangana. Mahrez, Mateus Gonçalves. Now the flag goes up against Riyad Mahrez. Warm work for the assistant referees. Mahrez just a little too slow to retreat. Pimenta. Good touch by Diarra. Might open up here for Wahda. Tadic into the path of Guga. Now the Ahli players retreat. Worked wide by Al-Manali. It won't stick for Diarra. A slice off the right boot of Edouard Mendy, making it a fraction high for Mazraoui. Ivkovic. Kribin not bothering to contest that one. Volleyed forward by Ryan Hamad. You could see what Diarra was trying to do there. He knew that Guga had made that overlapping run. Now Kessie. Inch perfect. Look at that for a touch from Mahrez. Here he is again, Riyad Mahrez. Well, the ball is on a string for him at the moment. Eventually, he just ran out of options. That's some little glimpses of the undisputed qualities of Riyad Mahrez on show in that one movement. Heading towards half-time. too many goal-scoring opportunities. Ahli certainly with the better of things in that regards, but not by much. Club that has lost just one of their last 23 matches in the AFC Champions League Elite. And that was against Sharjah on matchday 4 of this year's competition. At least one Emirati club has had joy against the Asian champions so far this season. Ahli have got Emirati opposition to finish as well in their last league stage game against Shabab Al Ahli at home. And similarly, Al Wahda finish off with Saudi opposition in their last game, a trip to face Al Hilal. Banyes looking for and finding Riyad Mahrez. Seen away by Pimenta. Gonçalves losing out to Krupski. And there's an outstretched arm from Krupski, which is going to be penalised here. Yellow card. Was Argentina against Brazil in miniature there, and that little slap across the face of Mateus Gonçalves enough to earn a caution for Facundo Krupski. And a busy man in the first half, Ali Reza Fagani. That's the 5th yellow card that he's issued. That is half-time, I think. Yep. A goalless first 45. Al Ahli with slightly the better of the opportunities. One shot from Riyad Mahrez that was well saved by Zayed Al-Hamadi. One free kick from Ivan Toney that took a touch off Dusan Tadic and went behind for a corner. At the other end, one effort from Brahima Diarra for Al Wahda. Plenty of yellow cards, yet no goals. At the break, Al Wahda 0, Al Ahli 0. Well, the two teams reappearing after a goalless first half at the Al Nayan Stadium. As you can see, Ahli have made a change at the break. Ali Majrashi went down with an injury towards the end of that first half, has been replaced by Mohamed Yusuf. It's a like-for-like change at right back. Riyad Mahrez has been influential in the opening 45 minutes, as he normally is, but Matthias Jaisler's team not yet able to find the breakthrough against Darko Milanic's Al Wahda. Keenly contested opening 45. No goals, but 5 yellow cards. Not too much work for either goalkeeper. We have only had 5 goalless draws so far in the AFC Champions League Elite League stage across the East and West zones, and 4 of those have been in the East. The only goalless stalemate in the West involved Al Wahda when they drew 0-0 with Traktor of the Islamic Republic of Iran. There's confirmation of that change for you. Ali Majrashi replaced by Mohamed Yusuf, who's on the ball now. Ahli, the defending champions, of course, with the only meaningful shot in the first half. Here's Mahrez, and it was Atangana who's trying to sweep the ball in with his right leg. Ali Reza Fagani blowing for a free kick. It's been a busy night so far for the Australian official. That shot in the first half for Ahli coming courtesy of Riyad Mahrez, pushed away by Zayed Al Hamadi at the other end. Just really fielding practice for Edouard Mendy from a long-range effort by Brahima Diarra, who wins the ball in the air there for Al Wahda. Oh, Tadic was reaching in. This will be interesting. Ahli again upset that the challenge was a little high, and there's going to be at the very least a conversation between referee and player. Yellow card is the end result, the 6th of the night. Let's have another look at it on the replay. Yeah, he's landed right on top of Atangana's foot. That's a nasty one, a painful one too for the Frenchman. VAR, of course, does have the power to upgrade that, should they so wish. Sean Evans and Adam Kersey running the rule over the pictures in VAR tonight. If it had been a fraction higher, then you might think that Dusan Tadic might have been in a spot more bother, but yellow will probably suffice. Good to see Atangana back up on his feet. It's a 4th booking of the night for Darko Milanic's team. Tadic following Lucas Pimenta, Facundo Krupski and Brahima Diarra into the notebook. Banyas going long with the free kick. Tony not able to hold the ball up, at least in any meaningful way. And Guga's now got a bit of a problem. Just needed a moment, the Portuguese defender. This is only Guga's 2nd Champions League Elite appearance of the season, by the way. His only other start was against Al Gharafa back in December, when he played the full 90 minutes in a 1-0 defeat. And there he is, winning the ball in the air again, ahead of Matej Goncalves. Protected by Tadic, who was falling as he released the ball. And Ali Reza Vaghani's going to bring them back for a free kick for Wahda. That's why. Final touch of Frank Kessie. Tadic looking to spin away from Ziyad Al-Jahani. There's a little bit of afters between the two. One to keep an eye on. Has been a little spiteful in places, this contest. In the other early kickoff today in the AFC Champions League Elite, the battle between the bottom two is going the way of Nasaf of Uzbekistan. They're 1-0 up against Al Shorta of Iraq at half-time. More complaints from Tadic. Home fans have found their voice. Home team yet to find their shooting boots. Ibanez. Atangana, forced back by Jetsam. Ziyad Al-Jahani. Ibanez. Now was Ivan Toney coming back from an offside position. There is no flag. Mohamed Yusuf to retrieve it. Mahrez. Kessie. Finds its way through somehow for Yusuf, but now the flag does pop up. Just see if, well, Mohamed Yusuf was certainly offside, but in the first phase of that passage of play, I do wonder whether Toney might have been just straying offside. Flicked off Mohamed Yusuf last. It's a nice turn. And a shot from a long way out. No particular problem. Off the boot of Kruski via a defender. And into the grateful arms of Edouard Mendy. First shot on target, though, of the second half. No foul there by Ryan Ahmed on Omar Kribin. Dams. Little too strong that for Matej Goncalves. He's been good since his arrival at Ahli. Cost $10.5 million from Flamengo, but a good investment for Matthias Jaisler. Already a couple of goals in this competition as well against Al Sadd and Al Duhail, along with 2 assists. Kruski bundled over by the freshly arrived Mohamed Yusuf. Got his hands all over the Argentine winger. Yusuf again. Mateo Dams. He's going to run away from Kessie. Here's Diarra. Wide is Tadic. Pushing forward on the overlap. Guga, it's a good ball as well, and Krivit had a clean header, couldn't direct it goalwards. A decent start to the second half by the home side. It's 2 shots on goal that they've had, almost as many as they had in the preceding 45 minutes. Kessie, he's giving it away to Krivit. Lovely skills by Omar Krivit. Can he find the end product? No, the answer, unfortunately for Wahda, is no. He did the hard work, but Mendy in the end untested. Rather tame effort in the final analysis. Whatever he said at half-time has certainly had an impact. Mohamed Yusuf under real pressure, helped out by Ryan Ahmed. Ibanez to get things moving forward for Ahli. Too many bodies in the way. Brahima Diarra sets off the other way. And there's going to be another yellow card here. Shown to Mateus Gonçalves, I think. Maybe not. Maybe it's Ziad Al-Jahadi. Al-Jahadi, no stranger to disciplinary problems. He's been sent off twice this season for Ahli. His infringement of the rules gives Wahda another chance to attack. Very high defensive line for Ahli. Lots of space in behind if they can time it right. Ball over the top, or Krupski came off his boot rather sharply and made it difficult for Guga. Did look as though they managed to spring the offside trap. Here's Dams on Gonçalves. Back through the now cautioned Ziad Al-Jahadi. All over the top, looking for Tony. It's a good touch as well to bring Mateus Gonçalves into play. But he just straight offside, the English striker. He's only scored once in the Champions League Elite so far this season. That was in the last game, the 5-0 success over Al Shorta in December. Got a couple of assists in that game as well. Domestically, he's untouchable at the moment. Ivan Toney, 13 goals in 9 matches for Ahli in 2026 alone. And now it's really kicking off between Jadson and Mohamed Yusuf. Kruski down on the field, and I fancy that yellow card's going to get another workout. Jadson and Mohamed Yusuf, for a moment, seemingly wanted to take this outside. It's been a testy affair at times. One miscreant dealt with, another one about to receive his lecture. And that's what sparked the outrage. Well, that kick in particular. First one is a foul. The second kick is a little bit naughty from Mohamed Yusuf. He will say, well, the ball's still live. And when you kick between a player's legs, you are going to attract the ire of your opponents. Here's that high defensive line again. All strung out in a row, the Ahli defenders. They are just checking that challenge by Mohamed Yusuf. Very briefly. Yellow card is deemed sufficient. In fact, they didn't even get a yellow card, did they? So, there we go. Here's the free kick. Atangana. Theo Dams wants a PSV Eindhoven, wanting options from the throw. Into the final half an hour at the Al Nahyan Stadium. We are still no closer to the deadlock being broken. There's a little coming together between Guga and Ivan Toney. Ali Reza Fagani having to put out spot fires all over the field at the moment. The latest, that little wrestling match between Guga and Toney. One of the Wahda backroom team has been shown a yellow card as well. Now changes for Ahli. Enzo Mio on for Ziad Al-Jahani, and Firas Al-Breakin is going to replace Mateus Gonçalves as well. They certainly won't lose anything in midfield by having Enzo Mio on the field of play. Firas Al-Breakin, a regular for his country, but struggles to dislodge Ivan Toney at the point of the Ahli attack. And this is normally the end result. He comes on more of the left winger, which is a role he's well used to playing. But by instinct, he is really more of a number 9, which is the number he wears. Mio getting involved, linking up with Al-Breakin. Guga off balance, puts it out for a throw. There There's Enzo Mio, signed from Stuttgart for 35 million euros back in August of last year. And already with 3 goals in this year's Champions League Elite, including a double against Nassaf on matchday 1 when Ahli trailed the game by 2-0, and he really was the catalyst, this man on the ball, for a quite remarkable fight back. Atangana finding Kessie. Not too much as yet in this second half from Ahli. Maybe that's about to change. Kessie's cross. And Mio throwing himself at the ball, but well protected. The Wahda goal by Lucas Pimenta. Tadic. Steered back by Kribin. Ivkovic. On the defensive line for Lucas Pimenta. He got a stoppage time winner on matchday 1 against Al Ittihad, also of Saudi Arabia, for Al Wahda. Guga inching forward. Alberikin taking over for Al Ahli. Mio's lost out. Diarra. That's clever from Dusan Tadic. Diarra going for the early cross. Kuski. Turned back by Wahda Nasser. Heading towards the final quarter of this game, which has been a little spiteful to say the least. Dan should be able to see this one behind, and does. I think that was the gentleman we just saw, not Mr. Milanic, but one of his assistants who got the yellow card, making it 5 in total for the evening for Al Wahda. 3 cautions for Al Ahli, who are on the attack through Firas Alberikin here. Trying to get around Guga, and he does so to find the cross. They're challenged by Mio. That one less so, though, from Tony. Can't throw your opponents to the floor like that and not concede a free kick. Credit to the home support. Their noise has been incessant in the second half, and they're about to get their reward. Appeals for handball here, but offside is the verdict instead against Omar Kribin. I'm not sure whether Matteo Dams was actually playing Kribin onside. All academic in the end. Here's Riyad Mahrez, who's been very quiet in this second half. Is he about to come alive? Mohamed Yusuf. Kessie. Back through Ibanez. Flicked out wide nonchalantly by Enzo Mio. Mahrez. Mohamed Yusuf. Now Mahrez decides to cross, and we have an effort on target, at least from Ahli, tame as it was from Ivan Toney. Their first real attempt on goal in this second half, which has been rather substandard by their own lofty standards. Caio Caneda being readied by Wahda as the next change. 61 times capped by the UAE national team, although born in Volta Redonda in Brazil. And Brahima Diarra takes his lead. He's got 3 goals in 6 so far in this year's Champions League Elite, Caio Caneda. That's the latest foul in a rather niggly contest committed by Mio on the freshly arrived Caio Caneda. And we're into the last 20 minutes in Abu Dhabi. There's Sasha Ivkovic. Krusky. Back through Jadson. It's going to bounce away from Dusan Tadic. Player has been to 2 World Cups. And has a remarkable statistic of assists this season in all competitions, totaling 16. Underlining the sort of quality that saw him play for the likes of Ajax and Fenerbahce and Southampton in some of Europe's top competitions. Atangana. Ryan Hamad. Mahrez. Again, just outnumbered Riyad Mahrez. And whatever adjustments that Darko Milanic made at half-time, it's certainly done the trick. Wahda have been the better team in this second half. Of that, there can be no question. Here's Al-Manali. It's too far beyond Omar Kribin. Atangana. Albarikin, double marked. Make that a treble. Make that a throw for Wahda. He doesn't tend to get too flustered, Matthias Jaisler. Winning a Champions League can do that. Takes a little bit of the stress and strain off. Guga. Well, Caio Caneda just outnumbered and outmuscled in the end, and Mio trying to burst clear. That's going to be another yellow card, I fancy, for Al-Manali. Yellow ticket confirmed, making it yellow card number 6 of the evening for Wahda. 5 on the field and 1 for the coaching staff. Started to run out of players to caution Ali Reza Fagani, at least of Wahda anyway. That's a good turn by Facundo Krupski. Ivkovic. Krybin having to stretch for it, but good hold-up play by the Syrian. He's had a good game. Jadson. Now a bit of space for Krupski. That ball wasn't really on for Caio Caneda. Goalkeeper forced to get rid in a hurry. Krybin. Krybin now playing almost as a playmaker for his team. Might have been a foul again on Krupski by Ibanez, but referee happy to let that one ride. Back through Jadson. Now the whistle does blow for a foul on Omar Krybin. Two captains in direct combat. And here is the latest change. Riyad Mahrez, who's barely been sighted after the break, to be replaced by Saleh Abu Al-Shamat. And he's going to have to wait for that 13th goal in the AFC Champions League Elite. Riyad Mahrez. A very capable replacement coming on, Saleh Abu Al-Shamat, signing in the off-season from Al-Khalij. He was actually a junior with Al-Ahli before going off to play for Al-Qadisiyah and then Al-Khalij. And he's now a full Saudi Arabian international. Made his debut in the September window last year against North Macedonia. And here's a big chance for Wahda. And Caio Caneda couldn't take it, and he was offside anyway. Ball actually coming off Ivan Toney. I wonder if they were suggesting that the arm was in play there from Caio Caneda. Whether it was indeed an offside, certainly looked like shoulder. Free kick nonetheless for Al-Ahli. Ibanez. Mohamed Yusuf slings the ball in towards Ivan Toney. Albarikin will get a piece of it and gets the return ball off Matteo Dams. Mio, and that's a corner off Lucas Pimenta. Making sure the hands were safely tucked away behind his back. Arno Pradas is going to be the next substitute, made by Wahda. 19-year-old Spaniard. Meantime, here's the corner. Kessie at the back post. Safely teed away by Wahda. Kessie going cross field, but none too accurately. It's a really good retrieval by the newly arrived Saleh Abu Al-Shamat, and a teasing ball into the box. Goalkeeper's been fouled. Ball's in the back of the net, but it's not going to count. Ivan Toney will not get his second Champions League goal of this campaign, because the whistle had long since blown. They will check it, of course. Normally when we're in that sort of a situation, the goalkeeper comes out. Was he bonked away by his own player, Sasha Ivkovic? That's the question, I guess. There was an Ahli player there as well. Normally that tends to mean it's a foul on the keeper. Here's that change. The end of the section for Facundo Kruski, the Argentine who's toiled really hard down that left-hand side and to good effect on occasion as well. And Arno Pradas is a very interesting replacement to keep an eye on. Born in Catalonia, 12 years with the Barcelona Academy. And such a tricky left winger that one or two have made some comparisons with the legendary Garrincha. I don't know whether that's entirely fair on a 19-year-old, but this is his Champions League Elite debut. The winner of the UEFA Youth League with Barcelona under-19s last season. And a chance to make an impact here this evening. Zayed Al Hamadi, a little slow to get to his feet, the 29-year-old custodian for Al Wahda, who's nominally the number 2 to Mohamed Al Shamsi. And he, of course, was sent off in the last Champions League game. So he's serving a ban. And I think it was the contact from Ibanez that ultimately saw that goal from Ivan Toney, or Ivan Toney, ruled out. Atangana. Twisting and turning to try and get clear of Al Manali. Set forward by Dams. Miscontrol by Toney. Loose ball will favour Al Wahda here. Tadic into the path of Caio Caneda. That's a good challenge from Matteo Dams. Really well timed by the Belgian. Ryan Hamid making unchecked progress into the opponent's half. Toney. Oh, it's a good ball by Ivan Toney. Here's from Kessie. And the goalkeeper somehow makes the save. Big chance that for the Asian champions. Well, he's a bit lucky, wasn't he? Zayed Al Hamadi. But they all count if you're a goalkeeper. First off the leg and then off the left glove to deny the Ivory Coast midfielder the opening goal. What a lovely release it was from Ivan Toney to find Kessie in the first place. Atangana. Back through Ibanez. Lovely drop of the shoulder from Mio. Yusuf, they're queuing up here. Mio couldn't find the finish. And now the flag is up. A fancy against Mohamed Yusuf. But Al Ahli making a late bid for all 3 points. Really a luxury to have the likes of Mio to call upon off the bench, but it was definitely Yusuf who was offside down the right. in the air by Ryan Ahmed. Little flick off the heel of Mio. Janssen impeded. That's the hand of friendship from Franck Kessie, the Brazilian. Signed last year from Bragantino. Not Kessie, that's Janssen. Again, that high defensive line which Wahda looked to circumnavigate. Now then, could it open up here for Wahda? Ball was behind Caio Caneda. Abu Al-Shamat working it wide for Mohamed Yusuf. Into the last 5 minutes in Abu Dhabi. It's been a game that at times has threatened a goal, yet to deliver. Here's Ivan Toney in the box. Seen away by Sasha Ivkovic. Wide it goes for Dams. Kessie. It's a bit of a nothing pass from Matteo Dams. He's looking to make amends here by running back. That ball stayed in play. Abu Al-Shamat for Kessie. Nervy moments for Wahda. As they seek to preserve their unbeaten record against Ahli. Oh, look at that for a touch from Mio. Breaks for Dams. Everybody back for Wahda. Atangana. Mio in behind. Desperate defending from Wahda, but effective through Pimenta. Enzo Mio wriggling clear initially. A vital block by Pimenta. Corner still to come from Salah Abu Al-Shamat. Double punch away from Zayed Al-Hamadi. Kessie. It's going to dribble behind for a goal kick. And try as they might, neither side has been able to find a way through. Late change here for Al-Ahli. It's going to be a Champions League Elite debut for new signing Ricardo Matias, 19-year-old Brazilian, who arrived in January from Internacional for 11.8 million. Won the South American Under-20 Championship with Brazil last year and scored in the final match against Chile to clinch the title. As for Ivan Toney, well, he did at least put the ball in the back of the net, but the goal ruled out for a foul on goalkeeper Zayed. Al-Ahli finishing the stronger of the two. Guga headed off at the pass by Al-Shamat. And he's almost clinched it for Al-Ahli. That was angling in, or so it seemed, into the bottom corner off the boot of Salah Abu Al-Shamat. Enough to have Zayed scrambling across his line. Flurry of late chances for Ahli. Inside the final minutes of the regulation 90. Mendy's pass almost got away from Atangana. Almost, but not quite. Here's Dams. Well, Mio and Alberikin both leaving that one for each other, but Alberikin almost made it good for Ahli through his perseverance. In the end, it's a goal kick. And the next question is, how many minutes to be added on? Well, we haven't seen the fourth officials board, so we don't know yet. There's the answer, 5. He's been one of the main players, Ali Reza Fagani. Plethora of yellow cards. That's a delightful touch by Tadic. Here's a chance to win it. It's spurred in the end by Arno Pradas. Took it first time. Maybe he had more time than he realised. Could have taken a touch and steadied himself. Can't remember Edouard Mendy having to make a meaningful save. Kribin again in direct combat with Ryan Hamed. They've had quite the battle, those two. Dying embers of a game that promised so much, but has really been left in the starting blocks, at least until now. Yusuf gets away from one defender. Headed partly away by Al-Manali. Headed further clear by Badr Nasser. Back come Ahli. Here is Matteo Dams. Could they win it late on? Badr Nasser's touch not enough to stop this forward momentum. Here's Salah Abu Al-Shamat. Found the room for the cross. Here's Ibanez. Well, that would have been a way to finish it, wouldn't it? Lovely first touch by the Brazilian defender to set himself. But no joy for the man who won the UEFA Conference League a few years ago and then reached the Europa League final, both with Roma. More complaints for the perceived infringement on Caio Caneda. Final 90 seconds at the Al Nahyan Stadium. It's not what you want to be doing in the 94th minute, having to turn and chase. Good job he's got the holes cut out in the socks to keep the calves fresh. It's a tired-looking pass, though, from Atangana, the player I was referring to. Jadson. Urged on by some rather frustrated home supporters. Tadic. Not able to squeeze the ball through. Feels for handball against Atangana, but it's Wahda who come away with it. In the shape of Guga, who gets a throw in for his team. Might be the last chance for either side to win it. A couple of deep breaths from Guga as he prepares to launch the long throw. Off an Ahli heads. And a foul by Kayo Kaneda. Actually, it was Arno Pradas who just was leaning into Firas Albrikin. And that is full time. It is the third draw in 4 meetings between these two as Wahda maintain their unbeaten record against their Saudi opponents. It's only the second 0-0 draw in the Western Zone of the AFC Champions League Elite this season, and Wahda have been involved in both. No fault for the efforts, but a bit more quality required in the final third. Full time at the Al Nayan Stadium. Wahda 0, Ahli 0.